You ever feel like you're driving on a road that just keeps shifting under your wheels? Like one minute, freight's everywhere, rates are good.
Yeah.
Then the next, it feels like you're scrambling for scraps, caught in a bind, maybe even chasing down a payment that never showed up.
Uh-huh. It's that constant grind, isn't it? So unpredictable.
Exactly. Ups and downs. So the big question is, how do you navigate all that? How do you do it on your terms?
Well, it's fascinating, really, when you look at the sheer range of things truckers are dealing with right now,
Yeah.
both challenges and opportunities.
Right.
We've gathered a whole stack of sources for this deep dive. We're talking news on job cuts, company bankruptcies,
Oof.
really tough stories about unpaid work, but also stuff on new tech, analyses, and importantly, resources designed to help you build some resilience.
Okay.
And what's interesting is these are just random stories. They paint a bigger picture, not just the problems, but like actual pathways to empowerment. So you're
Yeah.
not just reacting, you can actually shape things.
That's exactly what we want to get into today. Our mission here is to cut through the noise, pull out the really crucial insights from all this. We want to connect these dots, show you that bigger picture where hopefully you can feel like you have more control, manage your time for your benefit, maybe learn some new skills, even build other income streams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because look, you're the backbone of this whole economy. We want you to feel respected, supported, and really genuinely in charge of where you're headed.
Well said.
Okay, so let's dive in. Let's start with some of the more concerning trends first. Things showing how much that logistics chain is, well, wobbling right now.
Uh-huh.
We've seen some pretty significant job cuts hitting freight and manufacturing recently.
Yeah, those numbers were stark.
Right. Recent disclosures showed, what was it, 8,794 jobs?
Mm-hmm.
Gone. Across North America.
Almost 8,800.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It really is. And it's not just a number, right? It immediately ripples out. Less freight volume, pressure on rates, capacity shifts. And these cuts are spread out U.S. freight and warehouses in places like Texas, Illinois, Georgia, even slower ports in California.
And Mexico, too, right? Manufacturing hubs.
Yeah. Monterrey, Juarez, Tijuana. Fewer cross-border loads for a lot of drivers. It's definitely a warning sign.
And it's not just job cuts, sadly. We're also seeing companies just fail. And the impact that has, especially with unpaid work, hitting drivers right where it hurts.
Tell me about it.
Well, take Nortia Logistics, Illinois-based freight company, just filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Chapter 7, so that's liquidation.
That's liquidation, yeah.
Yeah.
Not reorganization. They're closing down, and they owe millions. To creditors, yes, but also to drivers. And the reports mention all the classic red flags, late payments, strange contract terms, just poor communication.
It sounds familiar, unfortunately.
It does. And the owner-operators, the leased-on guys, they often end up at the back of the line trying to get paid in these situations. It's incredibly tough.
So frustrating.
And what's really heartbreaking, this isn't some new phenomenon. You talk to older drivers, they'll tell you similar stories. Wildfire cleanups in Oregon.
Right.
Hurricane responses down in Florida. Even hauling supplies during COVID. It feels like this recurring pattern. Truckers step up in emergencies, put themselves out there, and then, poof, payment issues.
You're absolutely right. And those sources really highlight the painful parallels, like the Palisades fire cleanup out in California.
Yeah.
You had truckers driving into active burn zones, working these insane 14-hour shifts, some even sleeping in their cabs near the fire lines, hauling equipment, water, debris, essential stuff.
Absolutely essential.
Only to get completely ghosted on their pay by subcontractors.
Yeah.
And when they tried to get answers, just a maze of finger-pointing. Subs blaming the state or FEMA, the state, saying payments were processed. It's maddening.
It is infuriating how people doing the hardest work in those situations end up getting burned.
Exactly.
And, these tough situations, they really spark different viewpoints in the industry. It's something Hervey from Life, as a trucker, always talks about. You got to try and see things from all sides.
That's a good point. How so?
Well, take the job cuts. You got the optimists saying, okay, it's a correction. Companies overhired during the pandemic boom.
Right. Reshoring will bring freight back eventually.
Exactly. They see it as a shift, not necessarily a shrink.
Yeah.
But then the realists are looking at, dropping consumer demand, high interest rates, and they're bracing for more turbulence, thinking truckers are going to feel this squeeze for a while longer.
Makes sense. And with company failures like Nortia.
Same deal. Some might just shrug. Market forces, only the strong survive, that kind of thing.
A bit cold, but yeah.
While others are really passionate, saying, It's always the little guy losing out to shady practices.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
And on those unpaid work situations, like the fire cleanup, oh man, the opinions fly. You get the harsh, should have known better, get it all in writing, don't trust verbal promises.
Hmm.
But right alongside that, you have this fierce defense. These truckers stepped up when nobody else would. Hold the hirers accountable.
Right. Both sides have a point, in a way.
They do. It just shows how complex the reality on the road really is.
It really does. So, okay, given all these constant challenges, this volatility, how do you actually build trust? How do you protect your income?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's not all bad news, right? There are some players trying to improve things, like Echo Global Logistics, a big broker.
Right. Echo, they actually won a Fraud Fighter Award recently.
Okay, interesting. What for?
For keeping their fraud-related loss rate incredibly low, under 0.01%.
Wow, 0.01. So like less than 1 in 10,000 loads goes bad.
Something like that. It's an impressive statistic.
Yeah.
And it makes you ask, okay, how are they doing it? And more importantly, what can you as a driver learn from that?
Exactly. What can we learn?
Well, reports say they use pretty rigorous carrier vetting, proprietary algorithms flagging suspicious patterns.
Tech stuff.
Yeah. And real-time tracking GPS pings, AI to catch fakes quickly. Multi-factor load matching, checking location, history, before assigning anything.
All right.
And crucially, they actively report double brokers. They don't just block them, they report them, which helps everyone.
That's good.
So the key insight here, I think, is that the strategies these big brokers use to fight fraud, they're not just for the brokers. They offer a kind of blueprint for how you can build your own personal fraud shield.
Right. Taking those big ideas and making them practical for one driver. Okay, so where do you start?
Well, first off, always know who you're hauling for. Seriously. Just because a name's on a load board doesn't mean they're legit.
Good point.
Always check the MC number, check company ratings, look for reviews, do your homework.
Okay, homework first. What else?
Second, use tracking tools. I know, GPS pings, tracking apps. They can feel a bit intrusive sometimes.
Yeah, big brother watching.
Right. But they also help prove your load is legit. They can protect you from getting blamed if someone else pulls a scam.
That's a good way to look at it. Protects you too.
Definitely. Third, and this is absolutely critical, document everything.
Everything.
Everything. Rate confirmations, emails, texts, timestamps. Screenshot it all.
Yeah.
This goes right back to those payment nightmares with Nortia and the Palisades fire.
Ah, yeah. The paper trail.
Exactly. That paper trail is your absolute best defense if things go south. It almost feels like you need to be part lawyer these days, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty much. Document everything. Got it.
Seriously, it's your lifeline. And finally, report the shady stuff. Don't just vent on Facebook.
Yeah.
Report it officially. FMCSA, platforms like Carrier 401, it puts pressure on the bad actors.
Makes sense. Collective action helps. Now, back to Echo's award for a sec. What's the vibe on that? Everyone convinced?
Well, you've got believers saying, finally, a broker actually putting real effort into being legit. They might prefer hauling for them.
Okay.
But then you've got skeptics calling it a PR stunt saying, yeah, but they probably still lowball rates.
Right. The rate issue never goes away.
Never. Both views are kind of fair, you know. But the main thing is, it does set a new standard. It shows what's possible in fighting fraud.
Okay, so challenges, yes, but also ways to protect yourself. Now, what about opportunities? Are there positive things happening too?
Absolutely. While the challenges are real, there are definitely opportunities emerging if you know where to look and how to react.
Good. Let's shift gears then. What are we seeing?
Well, one indicator is market shifts reflected in tender rejection rates.
Okay, break that down for us. Tender rejection rate.
Basically, it tracks how often carriers turn down the loads they're contracted for. A higher rejection rate means carriers are being pickier.
Because they have better options elsewhere.
Exactly. Better options likely on the spot market. And we just saw the Southeast tender rejection rate jump above 10%.
10%. First time since when?
Since early 2022. That's a pretty significant signal.
Wow. Okay. Where is it hottest?
Markets like Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago seem particularly tight right now. Capacity is definitely tightening up there.
And why is this happening now? Any ideas?
Could be a few things converging. Peak produce season kicking in, especially in the Southeast.
Ah, yeah. Produce season.
Fuel prices have been a bit more stable lately, maybe giving carriers more confidence to be selective. Fewer trucks on the road, too, due to carrier attrition.
Right. Companies going out of business.
Yeah. And maybe even some early retail stock-ups happening ahead of the third quarter.
Okay, so For a driver out there, what does this spike actually mean? How can they leverage it?
It means tangible leverage. Now's the time to negotiate harder on spot rates. Be more selective about the loads you accept. Strategically stack your backhauls. Keep a close eye on services like DAT and Sonar, those market intelligence platforms. Daily. Things change fast.
Daily checks. Got it. So is this the start of a big rebound or just a blip?
Well, that's where opinions differ again. The optimists see this as maybe the beginning of a broader recovery. Healthier spot market, better rates overall, fewer carriers means more freight per truck, right? But the realists, or maybe pessimists, might say, hold on, this could just be temporary. Tied to produce, summer restocking.
Could flatten out again soon.
Could flatten by mid-July if the wider economy tightens up again. So the advice is, be cautious, but be smart. Definitely an opportunity to capitalize right now.
Cautious but smart. Okay.
And speaking of capitalizing on opportunities and being more efficient, this connects nicely to some big investments happening in infrastructure, things that could really help in the long run.
Infrastructure investments. Tell me more. That sounds promising.
Yeah, potentially a real game changer.
Yeah.
Take a company called Outpost.
Outpost?
They just announced this massive $500 million investment to expand their network of shared terminals.
Shared terminals. What does that mean exactly?
Think of it like a network of locations, maybe 30 or more across the U.S., near big cities and freight corridors. They're a mix of secure truck stops, transload hubs, places for regional dispatch.
Okay, so how does that help a driver?
The potential benefits are huge. Less wasted time, fewer unpaid miles. Killing deadhead, basically.
Yeah. Less deadhead is always good.
Always. Allows for quicker drop-in hooks, which really boosts efficiency, especially for short haul. Plus, potentially better, safer places to rest.
Nice.
And the big idea is it lets smaller fleets and owner-operators play like the big fleets,
Yeah.
Gives them access to yard space and facilities they couldn't afford on their own.
Leveling the playing field a bit. Where are they located?
They're already in places like Chicago, LA, Dallas, Atlanta, and expanding.
Interesting. So $500 million is serious money. What's the reaction been?
Predictably, mixed. You've got the heck yes crowd who are super enthusiastic.
Oh, yeah.
They see it as finally a solution for affordable shared drop yards. Less sitting around, more hauling.
Yeah.
They think smaller fleets desperately need this to compete.
Makes sense. But there are skeptics, too.
Oh, yeah. You've got the cautious folks asking the tough questions. Will it actually stay driver-friendly? What are the real costs going to be per use?
Good question.
Will it lead to brokers favoring certain carriers who use the network? Will there be tech glitches and complications?
Valid concerns.
Absolutely. Both sides are valid.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. But the potential is undeniable.
Okay, keep an eye on Outpost. Got it.
So, all these things we've talked about, the job cuts, the payment nightmares, the fight against fraud, the rising rejections, these new infrastructure ideas like Outpost,
Yeah.
they all kind of point towards one really powerful strategy for truckers, a way to build real resilience, long-term security.
Okay, what's the strategy?
It's really about the mission, highlighted by places like lifeasatrucker.com and retirefromtrucking.com. Their whole thing isn't just getting into trucking, it's helping you get out on your terms.
Get out on your terms. I like that. How?
That's their core solution, or a big part of it, is training truckers how to use AI to create extra recurring streams of income, online income.
Side hustles, but maybe more automated?
Kind of, but the key is recurring. It's not just a trendy idea. It's designed to be a shield, a buffer against those constant ups and downs of freight rates of the whole economy.
The shield. Okay, I see.
Making money online, consistently, month after month.
Yeah.
They can help you retire when you want to. And crucially, it softens the blow if your trucking company vanishes or if the industry hits another rough patch.
That makes a lot of sense. Financial cushion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this advice, from Hervey at Life as a Trucker about building income beyond the truck. It's like a theme weaving through almost all of these sources we looked at.
How so?
Because it addresses the uncertainty seen in the job cuts, the vulnerability highlighted by the unpaid work scandals, even the competition issues underlying the Outpost network idea. It's about taking control.
Right.
It's about managing your time, not just for the shippers and brokers, but managing it for yourself. Using your downtime, your off-duty hours to learn new skills, build these diverse online income streams, putting your financial future firmly in your hands.
That feels like the ultimate takeaway here, doesn't it?
I think so.
The trucking industry. Yeah, it's dynamic, no question. Big challenges, absolutely. But also Real opportunities if you're informed, if you're prepared, if you're proactive. The market's going to shift. Companies will come and go. That's the reality. But your ability to adapt, to take control of your own financial well-being, that's what really matters.
That's the key.
And here's where it gets really, I think, empowering. Imagine not being solely dependent on the next load, the next rate confirmation, or whether some company stays afloat.
Less stress.
Way less stress. Actually shaping your own financial destiny, taking that proactive approach. It doesn't just bring peace of mind, it commands more respect, more support, because you're becoming more self-reliant.
Definitely.
It's like you're still driving on that shifting road, but now you've got your own custom-built GPS, your own plan. You're truly in the driver's seat of your life, not just the truck.
Well put. And maybe this raises a final thought, a question for you listening to consider. Is the definition of success in trucking actually changing?
How do you mean?
Maybe it's shifting away from just hauling the most loads or always chasing the highest rate per mile. Maybe true success now is about building a genuinely diversified, resilient lifestyle.
A lifestyle, not just a job.
Exactly. One that lets you truly be in charge of your career, your finances, your well-being, your future. So we'd really encourage you to check out resources like lifeasatrucker.com or truckersidehustle.com. Start exploring how you can build that shield.
Build that shield.
Yeah. So you can navigate whatever roads are ahead. Always on your own terms.